Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And as Joanna Cherry fights for her political future, I've got to be honest, she's one of the very, very few politicians I actually like, I suppose, or give any form of respect for. Even though she is the SNP, I think she would have done very well in another party. I think she's a natural Tory, to be honest. But she is coming out and basically running down Nicola Sturgeon. And she's one of the few that ever has and ever will. She has got, unlike so many others, unlike Swinney, for example, she's got balls. And she said that there was basically no love lost between her, Joanna Cherry, and Nicola Sturgeon, and that Joanna Cherry's stance on women's rights, on trans rights, and remembering that Joanna is part of the LGBT community, well, she's part of the LGB community. They don't really overly want the T's to be connected anymore. There seems to be this disparity between LGB, which are attractions, and everything after that, which is mental conditions. But she's saying that she wants to stand up for women's rights, women's safety, safety of women and girls, and so on. And actually take the stance against men as well, to be fair to her. And she's saying that because of that stance, Nicola Sturgeon put a target on her and basically tried to bully her, tried to push her out of the party, all sorts of things. So let's take a look, see what Joanna Cherry's saying on the eve of the election about one of the worst politicians ever to rise out of the primordial slime that is Holyrood. Here goes. So this story's in the Eye. Joanna Cherry. Nicola Sturgeon put a target on my back over the trans issue. The SNP politician says refusing to toe the party line and J.K. Rowling's support should help her fend off Labour in Edinburgh South West. And this is why I like her. She actually had the balls to stand up against her own party on a matter of principle when so many caved. So many big gobshites caved to Nicola Sturgeon because they lacked the spine. She did not. And Sturgeon hated her for it. Loathed her. But then she's saying that, look, now she's sitting there, she's a conviction politician, unlike Sturgeon, who's a politician with hopefully going to have a conviction. And also she's saying that with J.K. Rowling's support, she hopes people see that she's on the right side of history. And I personally do think she is. I've always maintained that she's the only MP and Fergus Ewing is the only MSP that the SNP should ever have. But even then, once they should just basically start their own party. Anyway, the SNP's Joanna Cherry does not appear too worried about the possibility that she could be swept out of her Edinburgh South West seat by a wave of support for Labour. One of her party's highest profile figures at Westminster, Miss Cherry, is cautiously optimistic. She has a right to be optimistic, I think. A lot of people. She's a good MP. This is the thing. She's a highly regarded MP from all sides of the house. She's a very intelligent woman. She's a very capable woman. And obviously, as I say, she's someone on the right side of the gender debate. She's delighted to have the endorsement of J.K. Rowling, a traditional Labour supporter, who is backing Miss Cherry over her defiant opposition to the SNP's attempt to introduce a gender self-identification law in Scotland. Because people like Joanna Cherry don't want to walk out, my wife, your daughter, your cousins, whatever, your mother, they don't want to walk into a changing room and see a grown man stripping naked and getting it all out and going, oh, don't mind me, love, I'm a woman now. No. Anyway, she was criticising the former SNP boss, Nicola Sturgeon, for putting a target on her back when it came to the gender identity issue. She says, when I'm out and about, out for a coffee or at a supermarket, I'm regularly stopped by strangers to thank me for my stand, she says. And I think it's going to help me keep my seat. It comes up on the doorsteps and it comes up favourably for me. Indeed, it probably does. And like, as I say, I do agree 100% with her stance. That's how I am. She says, for every email I get saying, I won't vote for you because you're a transphobe, I get 100 saying, thank you for your stance on women's rights. The Scottish Government, led by Miss Sturgeon at the time, saw legislation aimed at making it easier for weird, mentally ill men to pretend that they were women. This was blocked by the UK Government in January 23. And then she went to the High Court, and the High Court said sod off and threw it out within, was it 17 seconds, I think? Something, a record case or something, 17 seconds, done. No. And they had nowhere to go. And it cost the people of Scotland nearly $1 million in all, with all the costs and things. Without naming Miss Cherry in particular, Miss Sturgeon said in 2023 that some opponents of gender recognition reform had used women's rights as a cloak of acceptability for transphobia. No, women's rights were the cloak of acceptability for standing up for the safety of women and girls. To do otherwise is weird. She said, I think most people who are paying attention realise I'm not a transphobe. She's not. Says Miss Cherry, I'm just somebody who's concerned that if we have self-identification, women's rights to dignity and safety and privacy may be threatened, or indeed will be threatened. Miss Cherry previously described herself as a lesbian who holds gender-critical views that somebody's sex is immutable. No, yeah, 100% right there. But she has never said that trans people should not have equal rights, as indeed is the law. They do have equal rights. There is nothing a non-trans can do that a trans can't do. Nothing. She also previously spoke of her disappointment that the SNP hierarchy under Miss Sturgeon did not offer strong enough condemnation of the violent threats made against her. Nobody calls me a transphobe to my face except for some slightly nutty person who shouted me in the street the other week, she says, on the ongoing, mainly online hostility. Oh yes, they're big warriors, aren't they? Big keyboard warriors. Put them in the street next to people and they just melt away because they're scared. She said, I wouldn't wish to underplay it. I've received a lot of online abuse. I've received death threats. I've received R threats. The 58-year-old KC criticises Miss Sturgeon for devoting so much time and energy to a culture war battle, arguing that she capitulated 100% to the groups who want self-ID. She capitulated to the groups who are 12 times more likely to commit sex crimes, that want access to children, that want access all the time to schools, to libraries where children are, things like this. They want access to changing rooms. They want to remove rights and freedoms, and more importantly as well, opportunities for women. Hey, yes, I'm a shitty male sports star or sportsman, but if I become a woman, I'll be a brilliant sportswoman because I'm bigger, better, and stronger in every possible way, and it will give me a huge hard-on. Cherry adds, the problem is, having branded anyone who disagreed with her a transphobe, Nicola Sturgeon did that to me. She put a target on my back, and she puts her successors in the situation that if they try to move away from her position, they'll be called a transphobe. So I understand the difficulty in which people find themselves. And John Swinney appeared to acknowledge the legislation has no future after taking over from Humza Yousaf, telling Sky News in May that we can't take it forward. However, Swinney has also suggested he would try to work with the prospective Labour administration in a bid to lift the veto, because of course it's all about independence. Lift the veto, let's give us more power. She deserves to keep her seat, I hope she does, and the rest of them can go boil their heads. And it is that nastiness within the SNP that stops people speaking their mind. Well done. Well done, Cherry. I like you. Keep going, girl. Come up. So there we go. 2 days to go. I do hope Joanna Cherry does stay. As I say, she's one of the very few very intelligent parliamentarians. She is a KC. She does stand on principle, and that's an amazingly rare commodity in this day and age. And her principles are, I think, worthy when it comes to the safety of women and girls. Now, I don't agree with her on independence or so, but I tell you what, she doesn't constantly bang the drum about it. She gets on with doing her constituency work. She's a good constituency MP. And ultimately, that is why she's going to probably get back in. People recognise what she does. As I say, probably the wrong party, but what do you do? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.